Let's talk about the weekend's other big story. President Trump in the hospital after catching the coronavirus. The president is back inside Walter Reed Medical Center after stepping out and driving past his supporters who were rallying in front of the hospital. Wearing a mask, President Trump drove past supporters gathered in front of Walter Reed Medical Center.
I'm not telling anybody but you.
He teased the surprise visit on Twitter and suggested he's learned a lot about COVID-19.
I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it.
But one attending physician from Walter Reed criticized the president's outing on Twitter, saying everyone who was in the SUV with the president was exposed, will have to quarantine, and could get sick. Sunday, White House physician Sean Conley reported the president's condition is improving and he could go home as early as Monday. But he also said the oxygen level dipped to concerning levels both Friday and Saturday, leading doctors to begin treating the president with dexamethasone, a steroid shown to improve outcomes for patients with severe cases of COVID-19. Reporters questioned Dr. Conley, who painted a rosy picture of the president's condition Saturday.
I was trying to reflect the upbeat attitude that the team, the president, that his course of illness has had.
Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer called on the president to be fully transparent about his health as a matter of national security.
When it comes to something as vital as this, the health of the president, the health of the people around him, we need to know the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Meanwhile, Joe Biden announced he tested negative for the virus today. Remember, he was in the same room as the president for their debate last Tuesday. Biden has more campaign stops planned for this week. Here's a list of all the people connected to the president who have tested positive, members of his inner circle and part of his debate prep team.